Dalton, thanks for joining us, my man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
When you guys you go up against a physical Raiders team after a difficult loss, two things: how important is it to get the running game going, and what is it about these last two games where the start just hasn't been where you wanted it? How do you get that running? Is it up tempo? Is it something in practice? How do you guys get start off better than you have the past weeks?
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously we need to figure that out. We know that hasn't just been a problem the last 2 weeks. That's been a problem for the offense all season in my eyes. And obviously we don't have that figured out yet, because if we did, we'd be doing it. So we need to get that figured out, whatever that is. We work our asses off throughout the week in practice. That's not the case. It's about coming out and executing, and each of us not taking plays. It can't be the O-line one play. It can't be the wide receivers the next, the quarterback the next, and the running backs. It needs to be all 11 of us on the same play doing our jobs. And that starts with us in our position groups, and then on a smaller level, it starts with us individuals. We got to do our job. Everyone on that offense has to focus on doing their job first, and then it will all come together. We can't worry about the big picture. We got to do our jobs, and if all 11 guys do their job on every single play, we'll be successful. Now, I got to do a better job of that, and I think everyone on the offense has to do a better job of that, man. So we need to get that figured out. Going into the Raiders, we've faced a lot of great defenses this year. Some of the best teams in the NFL with the Chiefs and the Steelers and, the Titans. It's some good football teams here. So going up against the Raiders, we know they're a good football team, but they can be beaten, and we got to go in there and make sure we do that.
Thanks for calling.
Hey, Dalton, obviously some injuries up front this year, some shuffling. How do you think you guys have done just with that shuffling, and specifically Schlottman and Jake Rogers? How have they done stepping in?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. That's part of the game of football. We're professionals. We're expected to be able to do that. As an offensive line, you wish that you could have 5 guys for the whole season and be able to block next to each other and gel. But that's not how this game works. Very rarely is that how this game works. You got to be able to adjust to that. You might have a new center. Last year we had Connor. This year we have Lloyd. Graham's getting in there at right guard. Then he goes down. Schlottman goes in. Elijah goes out. DeMar goes in. Jake Rogers goes in. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces with the game of football, especially with us this season on the offensive line. So we got to continue to work through that. There are no excuses. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys how it is to have different guys come in and communication, and because at the end of the day, there is no excuse. We got to go out there and play football. We got to be the better offensive line out there, and better, front whenever we're going against the defensive line. We didn't do that this last weekend, and we got to do that against the Raiders.
Hey guys, we have time for 2 quick ones.
Dalton, my question's about Drew. He was asked about some of the free runners after the game by Dave Logan. He said, hey, I'm never going to throw my O-line under the bus. I asked him about maybe taking too much pressure on himself, but he said that's who quarterbacks are. That's who he is. How do you as a leader help take some of that pressure off, knowing that he's going to wear that? Clearly not his fault when a guard goes one way, center goes another, and a guy just runs free at him, but he still takes it as his responsibility. How do you cover him or help pick him up, I guess?
That's a great quarterback right there. Drew is as a person. And I do the same thing for him. If he rolled out right into my guy, I tell him I let my guy push me back a foot too far. I do the same thing for him, man. I have a lot of respect for Drew. When it comes to that play, exactly, there's a miscommunication on the offensive line that has zero to do with Drew. Drew can't handle that any different than what he did. He had a guy come free right through him through the A-gap, and you could put that on one guy on the offensive line, but that goes down on the whole offensive line. There needs to be better communication. You got a rookie at center. You could easily point a finger at me and say, Dalton, as a second-year guy and as a guy that says he's a leader of the offensive line, why don't you have your guys on the same page? That's how the game works, man, and that could easily be put on me. It pisses me off watching film when I see that. Are you kidding me? As a guy on the team, I want to look at that and be like, no, I should have known. I should have gotten that corrected before the play. It's a tough game and stuff like that happens, man, so it's unfortunate. And that was one play of the game. There was multiple plays like that we just can't have that are unacceptable. So that had nothing to do with Drew. I think, just like you said, Brandon, that's pretty obvious of what went on there on that play. But I respect Drew for saying that.
Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Dalton, I've got 2 questions for you, both about Drew. First off, I believe it's his birthday today. Are you guys, as an offensive line, do anything for him for his birthday? And secondly, where have you seen him maybe grow the most as a leader from year 1 to year 2?
Yeah, man. If COVID wasn't going on, we'd be doing something great for his birthday. We'd be getting together, getting a little birthday cake, hanging out. But with COVID, man, we come in here, masks on, tracers. It's a whole protocol. You guys know how it is, so it's really hard, man. And with Drew and leadership here on the football team, Drew has grown so much just from last year whenever he got those 5 games at the end of the year. And going into this year, just like any player on the team, he has things to work on. But Drew keeps calm and collected. He is very mature on the football field. I would tell you guys that. I'm a very passionate, emotional football player, as are a lot of guys. Not in a negative way, but I'm very emotional. What I respect about Drew is he doesn't let his emotions get the best of him. And at quarterback, I think that's extremely important. He maintains his composure. He does a really good job out there on the field, man. So I'm really proud of him.